It's inactive. I see. I shall read you an excerpt. Nope. I shall read you an excerpt from one of my favorite books. Hey yo, what's the dealio? This is Akame coming to you live with another fucking video, which is live again. And I'm going to do some random shit today because honestly I don't know what to fucking do now. I'm bored and I fucking failed my test today. I should be studying, but really my head hurts and I feel like shit because I failed part of it. I know that. Anyways, I am today I'm going to read you an excerpt from my favorite book that's called Star Wars Shadow of the Empire. Because this is fun. It's awesome, isn't it? Okay. And I'm gonna have to do melancholy music because obviously, you know, I mean, you need to have a little bit of drama in order for you to read a story. I think I'm gonna be finished with this story within, I don't know, I'm on chapter 16. Let's do this. So where's Leia? Luke asked. He and Dash had returned to Ben's, each on a swoop. The two swoops were under the cameo tarp with the X-Wing now. Dash's ship was in Mos Eisley at the port, gone to Rodia to connect up with the Black Sun. Luke nearly dropped the container of cold water he held. Black Sun? Is she out of her mind? Dash smirked. Oh, you're an expert on them, are you? No, but I talked to Han a lot while we were cooped up on Hoth during the cold, stormy nights. He had dealings with them. He said they were more dangerous than the Empire. He paused a sec. Why would Leia want to contact Black Sun? Dash shrugged. Got me. Maybe they might know who wants you dead. Got me. Maybe they might know who wants you dead. The princess is fond of you, though I can't see why. You gotta hold on to that water until it evaporates. Luke glanced at the forgotten container. Oh, sorry. He handed the water to Dash, who poured himself a large cup, then drank noisily from it. The idea of Leia fooling around with the vicious underground criminal organization didn't sit well. Still, what was he doing? What was he going to do about it? She was a big girl. She'd been taking care of herself okay before they'd met. Well, if you didn't count getting captured by Vader. Sure, he and Han and Chewie had, well, okay, first of all, he, Han, and Chewie is not supposed to be he and Han and Chewie. No. He, Han, and Chewie had rescued her from that. But they hadn't exactly covered themselves with glory doing it. They had covered themselves with the stinking effluvium in that garbage pit. So what's the drill, kid? Huh? You gonna sit around here and wait for them to come back? Or you may want to go ask the Hutt why he sent that comedy troupe out to zap you. Jabba's got no reason to be after me. Unless somebody put him up to it. That's why I'm here, remember? Since it's nice and quiet, I could teach you how to fly with swoops, right? Listen, they have never caught me in Beggar's Canyon. Archie began whistling and beeping frantically. I don't like the sound of that, Luke said. What is it? Something outside. It sounds like we'd better go see. R2 beeped again. Dash pulled his blaster and checked the charge reading. Luke reached down to touch his lightsaber to assure himself it was still hanging onto his belt. R2 chirped and rolled towards the door. Outside! They saw the fire of a breaking rocket high overhead. Looks like a message droid. R2 seemed to affirm that. Dash blew out a breath and reholstered his blaster. Message droids weren't something you had to drop in on you every day. They were used when fast delivery was needed and you didn't want to risk the hole in it and its relays. But they were expensive and good for only one shot. Unless you had a new booster lying around, you couldn't reuse them. R2 whistled again. That's awfully fast. I hope they shockproofed it, Luke said. Dash had already started for the door. Outside the incoming vessel, tiny as it was, visible as it fell towards the desert floor, half a lick away. Hold on, I need to, there you go. Look who's... Who knows you here? Who knows you're here, kid? Luke shook his head. Leia, Lando, Chewie, 3PO, and Jabba, Dash said. Though I don't think he'd spend money for a droid when he can make a local comm. He wanted to talk to you, not to mention kill you. Maybe it's for you. I doubt it. I don't leave forwarding addresses. Nobody knows I'm here except your friends, and they have no reason to call me. Luke watched as the little message ship plummeted. It began firing retros and slowing, but it was still coming down pretty fast. The droid must have underestimated the gravity or something. Maybe it was for Ben. Somebody who had been out of touch for a long time and didn't know he was gone. The message carrier hit hard enough to slash sand and make a noise they could hear 500 meters away. Let's go see, Dash said. Luke ground his teeth. He started to say something about giving orders, but he held himself in check. Jedi Knights were supposed to be even-tempered. He'd have to work on that. He started towards the ship. In his inner sanctum, Izor awoke from a light doze to the sound of his personal and private comlink speaking his name softly. Incoming call for you, Prince Shizor. What the fuck? Was that his imagination, or did the Vox chip slur his name at the chair as the chair he'd replaced had done? Nothing lasted these days. Everything started to break down before it was properly broken in. The Empire was going to entropy and a turbolift. Put it through and do a self-diagnostic on your Vox chip. The small-scale holoproj flowered on his desk. It was one of his local spies. Yes? You asked me to inform you when Lord Vader returned to his castle, my prince. He has just arrived. The Dark Prince nodded. Good. Maintain normal surveillance procedures. The spy nodded and broke the connection. His image blinked out. So Vader had returned from the wars, having unwittingly done Izor's bidding by hitting Ororo where it hurt the most, in the credit balance. Along with Guri's little demonstration to the ranking officers, Ororo would be well behaved, at least in the near future. Best he not call on Vader just yet. Doubtless the Dark Lord of the Sith needed some time to cool down a bit from the slap on the hand the Emperor had delivered. Vader's main problem was that he allowed his temper to rule him, a legacy of his mammalian heritage. It was that way with many species and detrimental, nearly always. Cold allowed precision, he threw caution aside and plunged in rampantly. Cold was the process of deliberation and planning, the heat the result of unbridled passion. Passion was fine, but only when controlled and channeled properly. Take Princess Leia, for instance. She attracted him, but he would bring her to him slowly and with care. Not in some wild chase in which he cast off his intellectual moorings and sailed out on the sea of lust. Ah, no, that was not the Feline way. The Feline way was cold. Cold was better than heat. Always. Darth Vader watched the spy via the holocam hidden at the top of a street-cleaning droid. The droid moved down the avenue like a giant mechanical snail, leaving a trail of cleanliness behind it instead of slime. Washing the hard road with powerful jets and a blunt tints caused the surface to sparkle. Izor's spy sat at an outdoor food bar, pretending to read hard copy news facts as he dawdled over a hot drink, long gone cold. Vader sighed and waved the picture off. This was such a convoluted business. All this spying and intrigue. True, he had learned the game. He played it well, as one must to live on this world, but he did not enjoy it. Men like Izor and the Emperor took pleasure from the manipulations, but Vader always felt soiled when he mucked around in all this double-dealing and triple-crossing. He was a warrior, and as such he would prefer to plant himself in the path of an advancing army, alone to all this, smiling to his face while plotting an enemy's ruin, which was the political core of imperial center. Striking a man down with your blade was clean and honorable. Shooting him in the back from the darkness of an alley and hurrying to blame it on another was something else. Altogether. Oh, what a man. Oh my god. How do you think I'm feeling right now? check the description. You're gonna figure out that you should join me for some. I should have done study time, but I already did that. The music time and the art time. Fuck it. I'm gonna be real and I'm gonna tell you that I love somebody with the passion for artistic shit, but I mean it's more love than anything, but whatever, right? Where was I? There was a thought he enjoyed. The message droid, a compact rounded box with an anti-grav unit that allowed it to hover and move a couple of meters off the ground, was apparently undamaged by the delivery vessel's hard impact on the desert. The box, half the size of R2, floated in the front of Luke and Dash, now in Ben's house. It didn't look damaged, but something must have rattled loose inside it. I have a message for Princess Leia Organa, it said for the 5th time. How many times do I have to tell you she isn't here? Luke said. R2, can you talk to this thing? R2 moved closer to the droid, whistled and beeped rapidly, and ended by flashing lights from its hollow projector at the thing. There was a pause as some system adjusted itself inside the droid. I am empowered to deliver the message with an authorized representative of Princess Leia Organa in her absence. Now we're getting somewhere, Luke said. Tell me, I'm her authorized representative. He grinned at Dash, who shook his head. Password? Password? What would Leia use as a password? Luke Skywalker? That password is incorrect. Dash laughed at Han Solo. That password is incorrect. We could be here a real long time while you rattle off all the names you know, Luke. Shut up, will you? I'm thinking. Well, who wouldn't want to interfere with that, would we? Luke did think about it. It had to be something simple, he figured, something they wouldn't forget. What was the first thing that came to mind? Oh, what was the first thing that came to mind when he thought about her? Forget that. Alderaan? Password, correct. A sliding plate on the droid moved and exposed a hollow projector. After a second, a hollow proj blinked on. A short, long-haired and bearded Bothian stood there, dressed in a forest green over tunic, pants, and boots, a long military-style blaster strapped to his waist and right leg. Greetings, Princess Leia. Koth Melon here. Speaking to you from my homeworld of Bothawi. Our spy network has uncovered information vital to the Alliance, and the nature of these data... What? That doesn't make sense. And the nature of these data are of such significance as to justify sending this messenger droid. You must come to Bothawi immediately. I cannot overemphasize the importance of this information or the urgency. Time is of the essence. I will be at the intergalactic trade mission for 5 days. The Alliance must act in that time, or the information may be lost. The projection shut down. Well. Somebody's in a big hurry. We could just make it to Bothawi before his deadline if I pushed my shift hard. That X-Wing crate of yours might do it, though I wouldn't bet on it. We need to get this information to Leia. Not a chance, kid. We can't use the holonet, because we don't know where she is exactly. We can't just call and ask, now can we? Excuse me, can you tell me where one of the Empire's most wanted enemies is, please? Alright, I get it. Yeah, time we go to Rhodia. Found her, and she's got back to Bothawi. Whoa. Some of this is not really good. Yeah, well, time we go to Rhodia, find her, and she gets back to Bothawi. It makes no sense, because it says, yeah, well, time we got to Rhodia, Time we got to Rhodia, found her, and she got back to both thought we it'd be a standard week at the least. Luke stared at the message droid. What were they going to do? This sounded big, really big. Well, he said, I guess we'll have to go in her place then. Why? The message was for her. I'm her designated representative. I've got the password, right? Whatever this Mealing guy has got, he can tell it to me. Doesn't sound too right to me. A Bothian spy master is just going to roll over and give it up just like that. And his name doesn't sound right either. Mealing? That's not Bothian. Nobody asked you. You're supposed to be a bodyguard, right? You don't care about the Alliance. Not unless they want to hire me. You got that right. Fine. I'm going. You do whatever you want. Dash grinned. Well, you're worth more to me alive than dead, and I'd better protect my fee. I'll take one of the swoops into town and get my ship. Meet you in orbit. Luke nodded. He didn't much like Dash, but the guy was good with the gun, and he could fly. That counted for a lot. Let's look at the X-Wing, R2. We're going for a ride. Arthur didn't seem to think it was a particularly good idea either. Too bad, but thought a Jedi Knight wouldn't just sit around when there was vital Alliance business in the works, would he? Nope, he wouldn't. 17. And Thawi, Avaro said, Black Thun, don't hop when I die though. Leia shook her head in disgust. She and Chewie were in Avaro's office, and once again he put them off. Lando was happy as a style pig in warm mud. He was winning most of the card games he played. Even Chewie was enjoying the casino, but if something didn't break pretty soon, Leia was going to start pulling her hair out. Sitting around and doing nothing was not her style. Okay, she said. Tell you what. I'm gonna try to read it in her voice, because I heard that I have a little voice of Leia. Okay, tell you what. If somebody doesn't show up here in the next week, I will try elsewhere. Otto shrugged. Suit yourself. Little chance of that. Leia thought it would suit her to be moving, to be doing something to find out who was after Luke and why. It seemed awfully clumsy of Vader to have engineered that attempt by the crew chief so that it could be traced back to the Dark Lord of the Sith so easily. She didn't have any other ideas as to who might be gunning for Luke, but sometimes when a thing looked too easy, it was. Other times, it wasn't. She still left Avaro's office. She didn't have a lot of choice here. She'd wait, but she wouldn't like it. Guri was about to leave the rodeo when Izzer stopped her before you got there. Well, before you go there, I have another errand for you. There's a secret document in her personal files under the heading Route. You know what it is. Yes. Download it and see that it gets to the hands of our Bothian double agent on Bothawi. Make certain he knows that we are responsible for its delivery. Guri said nothing, but he could feel her reluctance. He said, You disapprove. It does not seem to be your best interest to do this, she said. Ah, but it is. Having Blackson put his tidbit into the rebels' hands, Gartis will make them more apt to trust us. In the unlikely event, the Empire should lose this war, the Alliance will remember us as friends and not enemies. Guru nodded. She understood, whether she agreed or not. Highness. Izra considered Guru's raise as he went over the plan again. The new information was in addition to intelligence. He had already caused to be discovered by the Bothians. There was some slight risk, but not much given that which was to be gained. The Empire was strong, and he did not really think that the Alliance would triumph, but he was a stupid man, who never considered remote possibilities. Stranger things had happened. People were struck by lightning. Meteorites hit them out of a clear sky. The beating of a moth's wings on the north coast would be the breeze that helped spin a tornado on the south coast. A prudent player took no unnecessary risk, but there were times when a calculated leap had to be made over a deep abyss. This was one of those times, and as usual, it was a double-edged blade, swung with care. It would be cut both ways, just as it was supposed to cut. Reaching Bothawi wasn't so hard, though it got a little tricky when they dropped back into real space. An Emperor patrol buzzed the planet. Luke and Dash had to do some fancy flying to avoid them. There didn't seem to be any quarantine, and they made it to the surface of the world. Caught a pub trans flitter from the port into the city. Luke had never been on the highway, and he was interested in how clean and well maintained it was compared to his homeworld. It was a sunny spring day locally. There was a token force of Imperial stormtroopers hanging around in small groups, but it seemed as if the Bothians had control of the port itself. The streets were wide. Many of the tall buildings were glittery with some kind of natural stone. Most of the people he saw were, of course, Bothians, but there were a fair number of other aliens out and about. Very cosmopolitan, given the war and all. He said as much to Dash. Yeah, well, a lot of spying goes on, and Bothawi is one of the most active hubs of operatives from around the galaxy. The Empire has its own spies here, so does the Alliance, and they've all pretty much decided to let the place be neutral territory. They made it to the intergalactic trade mission, paid the fare, and got out. Getting inside to see Koth Mule was a little harder. The Bothian guard wanted to see a pass, he didn't have one. Luke wasn't particularly interested in telling the guard who he was, given that he was a wanted man. Maybe he should try to use the Force on the Bothian? He'd done Ben's trick a couple of times, and it had worked for him. Plus, he could impress Dash a little. Before Luke could gather the Force to swing the guard, Dash pulled the Bothian aside, spoke a few words, and pressed something into his hand. The guard smiled and waved him into the building. What'd you say to him? Not much. But that 100 credit coin I gave him said, hey, these are good guys. Let's say you just let them in. Right, Tim? You don't get out much, do you? That's how things work out here in the real galaxy. Money is the lube that makes all things move. We're inside, so we're happy. The guard can buy his spouse or his friend a nice gift, so he's happy. Nobody got hurt. If we get caught, the guard never saw us before. It's the cost of doing business. Luke shook his head, but maybe Dash had a point. Was giving credits any worse than clouding his mind with the Force? Yeah, it was for a good cause, and it would have been justified. But wasn't a few credits also justified? He'd have to think about that a little more. Dash, meanwhile, walked up to an information droid parked in the lobby of the building. Where might we find Koth Mule? He asked. The droid had a deep, sonorous voice. Level 16, number 7, it said. Thanks. They moved towards the turbolifts. Another droid, this one, a protocol model, much like 3PO, staffed the desk in the entryway of the office, to which Luke and Dash had been directed. The droid's metal skin was polished to a gleaming gold. Good morning. How may I assist you? He asked. Princess Leia is supposed to meet. Princess Leia is supposed to see Koth Mule. Luke said, You are Princess Leia? Luke frowned. No, I'm not Princess Leia. I'm her representative, Luke Skywalker. We don't exactly have an appointment, but he wants to see her, so he'll want to see us. The droid said, I don't believe that is a logical assumption. Look, just tell him we're here, okay? I'm afraid I cannot admit you without an appointment. Master Milan is a very busy Bothian, nor can I bother him with every little thing. Perhaps I can arrange for you to see him in, perhaps a standard week. Your names? Luke frowned. How could they convince this droid to let them in? Couldn't bribe him. The Force wouldn't work. Dash grinned and pulled his blaster, pointed it at the droid. Okay, Goldie. My name is Man with the Blaster about to cook you. Either you open the door, or your busy Bothian is going to have to get himself a new receptionist. Oh, that's a good line. That's a good line. Okay, Goldie. My name is Man with the Blaster about to cook you. Either you open the door, or your busy Bothian's going to have to get himself a new receptionist. Oh, dear. And no security alarms either. I'm watching you real carefully. Up and do the door manually, the protocol droid said. Very well, man with the blaster about to cook you. Luke and Dash exchanged weird looks. Droids could be too literal at times. The droid tapped a code into the keypad next to the inner door. It slid open. Inside, Dash ordered. The droid preceded them in a large office, sitting behind a desk in front of a clear wall. Transpar Steele was the Bothian who'd sent the message to Leia. Well, at least Luke thought it was the same one. They all looked pretty much alike to him. Master Mealing, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's all right, R04. Go back to your desk. I'll see these gentlemen. Hardly gentle, sir. The droid called R04 said. They said to me they were Princess Leia. They threatened me with a bodily harm. Never mind, R04 to Dash, the Bothian said. Put away the hardware, Randor. You don't need it. Dash blinked, surprised, but holstered his weapon. The droid left, closing the door behind him. Luke stepped forward. Excuse me the way we came in, but we had to see you. Luke smiled. I know. You're Luke Skywalker, and you are Dash Rendar. I've been expecting you. Please take a seat. Luke and Dash exchanged quick glances. Perhaps I should explain, Luke said. I discovered that Princess Organa was no longer on Tatooine a short time ago. Too late to recall the messenger droid I sent, because you are here. I assume you knew the password she and I agreed upon. He looked at Luke. I know your reputation and your work for the Alliance. He glanced over at Dash. I know your reputation, and Rendar. Though I am surprised to see you working for the Alliance. Dash shrugged. I'm not. I'm working for the Princess. Ah, well, no matter. You're here, now we can get to the business at hand. You took kind of a risk letting us barge in here with a blaster that way, Dash said. We could have been Imperial assassins in disguise. Elon treated them to another smile. Not really. I've known you were here since you landed at the port. You were scanned first at the doorway to the building by the guard you bribed, then on the turbolift and plausibly identified. If you had been assassins in disguise, you would have arrived on the level with a dozen armed guards pointing their weapons at you when the lift doors opened. Luke and Dash glanced at each other. I have many enemies. I have learned to be cautious. Luke moved to one of the chairs and sat. Dash did the same. What is so important that you sent a message to the message droid, to Leia? Luke asked. The Emperor has embarked on a new military project. We do not yet know what or where the project is, but we do know it is vast. The Emperor had diverted huge amounts of money, material, and men for this secret enterprise. How did you come by this information? Luke asked. The Bothian's splendid is second to none, he said. There seemed to be a touch of pride in his voice. As you thought you did with the guard on the street, we bribed a highly ranking Imperial officer. With what he gave us, we tried to infiltrate a slasher droid into the main computer complex on Coruscant to locate and copy the plans for this secret venture. Unfortunately, this portion of the plan failed. What have we learned as a result of this failure is that the plans are kept closely guarded in special computers with no outside lines. There is thus no way to obtain this information from a distance by comlink. No access to this system save by direct hands-on. You know what? I'm bored. Wait. Oh shit. Stop the live stream. Okay. I'm so sorry for having to have done that, but there was something going on, and I don't want to talk about it. Anyways, what's up? How you guys doing? This is Akame. I was reading an excerpt. An excerpt of my favorite book, but I had a little issue with something that went on my desktop, so I had to finish it off because There's something going on. So I'm gonna finish the story because I really am getting interested in what is going to happen on the next fucking episode, right? And kept closely guarded in special computers with no outside lines. There is thus no way to obtain this information from a distance by comlink, no access to the systems, save by direct hands-on contact. From what little else we've learned of it, this project does not bode well for the Alliance. Luke nodded. So what are we supposed to do about it? Our operatives have collected intelligence that indicates one of the secured computers is being sent from Coruscant to without. We believe the Alliance would be served by attaining this computer and cracking it open to see what the Empire is up to. Luke nodded again. That sounds reasonable. Dash said, excuse me, but why are you so hot to help out the Alliance? I thought the Bothian Spynet job was to gather and sell information, not get involved with strategy and tactics. Leon looked grim. 20 years ago, the Empire had my father executed for espionage. That's one of the risks of this business, isn't it? Yes, and one I take. But all the Bothians are not spies, said Rendar. My father was a teacher. He was guilty of nothing, save trying to educate his students about the Empire. You will have noticed my name doesn't end in the normal Waila honorific. Until the Empire is defeated, I can have no true honor. Dash nodded. That explains that. So his name is Milaniela. Elia. There you go. So his name is Koth Milanilia. Right? Yeah. Millennia. Oh, yay, the millennia. Half millennia. Wow. Dash nodded. That explains that. Luke thought about his aunt and uncle, turned into smoldering corpses at the farm of Tatooine. He understood how Elon felt. I would think that you might have a grudge against the Empire yourself, Elon continued, staring at Dash, after what the Empire did to you and your family. Dash gritted his teeth. Luke saw his jaw muscles flex. That's none of your business, he said. Luke didn't say anything, though the question leaped to the top tier of his mind. What did it do to you, Dash? Instead, Luke said, if the Empire is going to all this trouble, we'd best find out why. How do we get our hands on this computer? Elon nodded. Our operatives have learned that the Empire intends to send the plans incognito on an unescorted ship posing as a simple freighter carrying fertilizer. They reason that such ship will not draw the attention of the Alliance, the way a heavily armed convoy would. A freighter full of fertilizer? That is devious. Who'd hijack that? Our operatives inform us that they will be able to obtain the route of a disguised ship shortly. When they do, it would be but a matter of a day or two before the vessel arrives. There are Bothians who have Alliance sympathies willing to help secure the freighter, but they are relatively unskilled at such sorties. It would help if they had a commander with some experience in space battles to lead them. Luke smiled. That's me. He turned to Dash. What about you? You in? Risk my ship and neck for what? I thought you wanted to keep me alive. You ain't worth that much. One freighter against a squad of Bothians and me and my X-Wing? How dangerous can it be? Piece of cake. Dash appeared to consider it. Besides, if the information in the computer is as valuable as it seems to be, the Alliance might be willing to give you a bonus for helping collect it. It could be worth a few thousand credits, maybe more. Dash looked at him. Alright, I got nothing else to do. Why not? He grinned. The guy did remind him a lot of Chapter 18. The Emperor was normally a clever man. He seldom did anything that Darth Vader thought particularly unwise, much less stupid. Yet, as Vader stood before his master in the Emperor's castle, this latest bit of twisted business fit squarely into the latter category. Stupid and dangerous. Not that he would dare say so to the Emperor's face or behind his back, but the Emperor was not so powerful as to be able to read thoughts. Just as well, too, because if he could, surely he would destroy Vader here, where he stood for his opinion on this foolishness. Then again, Vader thought he stared at his master. Could he read thoughts? It was doubtful. This plan would never have come to pass. You disagree with Lord Vader? Stop it, let's do this master. So, later he walked towards his castle. Vader considered his response to this new gambit. There seemed little he could do save to monitor the situation, to stand still and watch. This did not improve his mood. Luke and Dash traveled with Cog Noon in his private land speeder to base hidden in the mountains, 2 standard hours away from the city. Here they met with a squad of boating pilots and weapons officers and inspected their ships. The dozen fighters were BTL-S3s, 2 seats, Y-wings, and the Alliance's most common attack craft. They weren't as fast as X-wings or TIEs, they weren't as fast as X-wings or TIEs. Didn't have the firepower, but were rugged and could take a lot of punishment. Now, not the latest or the best ships in vacuum, but they ought to be more than enough to stop a single freighter. They wore Alliance colors and ID codes. Bunch of antiques, Dash said. Probably had to get out and push if you want to go any faster than a broke-leg droid. If you want to go any faster than a broke-leg... Oh. Luke ignored him. To the leader of the squad, he said, You have astromechs for all these? The leader, a Bothian who looked as young for his species as Luke was nodded. Yes, we have droids, and all the ships have time and Bach for laser cannons. What? No. Bach-IX for laser cannons were not standard Novodex generators. Unfortunately, we don't have proton torpedoes for the Aracard launchers. Look, shut up. Doesn't matter. We don't want to blast the freighter anyhow. We want it in one piece. How much flying does your squad have? How much flying time does your squad have? Oh, hello. Hello, Pomona. Hello, Ezra. Doesn't matter. We don't want to blast the freighter anyhow. We want it in one piece. How much flying time does your squad have? Not much, I'm afraid. Most of us are relatively new. 100 hours or less in these birds, but the boys are quick, and the gunners are pretty fair shots. Though we haven't gotten much practice. That wasn't so good. We have a few days before we get our target location. Maybe we can find a place to do a few maneuvers. We'd love that, Commander Skywalker. The squad is at your disposal. Luke grinned. He did still like the sound of that Commander Skywalker. He could see it becoming Coral. How do you say Coral? Isn't that what your name is? Isn't that what your name is? He could see it becoming Colonel Skywalker. General Skywalker. Wouldn't interfere with his Jedi studies to be a general. Ben had been a general, hadn't he? That path would have to begin later. First this, then Han had to be rescued. That might be tough, but for a slow run against a dung freighter, surely he could get these guys into shape in a couple of days. Leia was contemplating putting a credit coin into one of the rigged gambling machines. She was so bored. She was about ready to give it a try. Bavaro approached her. I just got a com from off planet. Black Thumb representative within route. The will be here in 3 days. Leia felt a rush of relief. Thank goodness. Then as Avaro waddled off, she thought about what he just said. The will be here in 3 days? The will be here in 3 days? She? Well, why not? No rule said a woman couldn't be a criminal. In a perverse way, it pleased her that the representative of Blackstone would be a woman. And about time she got here, too. You said, Komono. Wait. Konoma? Is that... Oh, wait, hold on. Konoma? Is it Konoma Frost? Bro, I'll call you Azrael. I know you as Azrael, so I'm gonna call you Azrael. But why not? The operative they were awaiting arrived at the hidden base on Bufawi 3 days after Luke and Dash. Kasabian ushered the operative into a private room where the four of them met. Here are the coordinates of the flight plan, the agent said. He produced a tiny computer and laid it on the table. Udon said. Any more information on what the project might be? Not even rumors. This is closed up tighter than a Corallian clam. Too bad. The agent looked like 100 other Bothians Luke had seen. Put him in a crowd and he disappeared. You believe these directions to be valid? Elon said. He nodded at the small computer. I do. I received them from our underworld contact. She had never delivered false information before. She has never delivered false information before. Underworld contact? Luke said. Black Sun, the angel said. Luke and Dash glanced at each other. Black Sun? Elon answered. It appears that the organization is courting the Alliance. They have several times provided us with valuable intelligence. I believe they think the Alliance will win the war against the Empire. They must be the only ones. Elon looked at Dash but ignored what he said. War like politics sometimes makes for strange bedfellows. One uses the tools one has. Luke shook his head. I don't like it. They must expect something in return, and it seemed awfully coincidental that Leia had gone to seek out Black Sun, and here they were delivering invaluable information. Something wasn't quite right about that. They had not asked for anything. Yet, Dash said. Okay, Luke said. Put that aside for now. If this information is right, how long before we need a launch to get ready? Your squad of volunteers had already been put on alert. Elon said. We'll need to be in position in less than 3 standard hours to make the rendezvous. 3? I'll be going along, Elon said, if Dash Rendar has room on his ship. Dash gave the Bothian a lazy grin. No problem. Can you cook? Might want to grab a bite while we collect this freighter. I doubt we'll have time to eat. And maybe you won't, kid, but I can fly and eat at the same time. Luke had to grin. This guy was so full of himself he was wondering he didn't explode and spew ego all over the place. Better get to our ships, Luke said. Dash gave him a mock salute. Hey, Commander, time to go. Luke led the dozen Y-Wings away from the planet in the sensor shadow of the local moon to help them avoid Imperial patrols. Although the formation was a little ragged, they flew pretty well for a group who had only minimal time in the craft. He wouldn't want to take them into battle against the best Y-Wing in the Imperial Navy, but they ought to be able to help surround a freighter and stop it. The coordinates and time were coming around, and he turned his attention to ambush. Behind him dashed his chrome ship, nearly invisible against the backdrop of airless space, with Kasabian as a passenger. Keep in tight, boys, Luke said into his comm. We're almost on the station. Let's hear you sound off. Blue Squad! The pilots of the Y-Wing logged in. He kept it simple. Well, the attack ship's got a number, and he christened the unit with a color. Copy. We're there. Stall them in position. Blue Squadron obeyed, bringing their fighters to a halt. They floated in the middle of nowhere, waiting if the information was correct. The freighter ought to be popping out of hyperspace less than 100 kilometers dead ahead. The freighter pilot must have overslept. The ship dropped into real space, all right, but only 50 clicks away. It was a stocklight freighter. Brilliant, though different in configuration from the Millennium Falcon. Instead of the sauce-like body with the twin nose and offset control cockpit, this was long oval with the ends squared off, with the rectangular detachable cargo container slug under its belly. It looked kind of like a graphic of a giant blaster. Heads up, Blue Squad, there's our target. Attack formation! The ship came out of hyperspace relatively slowly, but since it was closer than anticipated, they didn't have much time. Luke switched to a standard operations channel and hailed the freighter. Attention on board, the freighter's Sposa. This is Commander Skywalker of the Alliance. Shut down your engines and prepare to be boarded. If anything went as planned, Cosmian in his back suit would be escorted on board the freighter by a couple of guards and technicians, also riding with Dash. They'd be in and out a few minutes. This is the captain of the freighter Sposa. Are you crazy? Came the reply. We're hauling fertilizer here. What kind of pirates are you? We're not pirates, like I said. We are with the Alliance, and maybe we have a big garden. Pull it up, Captain, and nobody gets hurt. A vehicle. You should call it the Millennium Falcon. Captain, either you shut down your engines or we'll shut them down for you. Oh, never mind. There came a long pause. It was possible the pilot didn't know what he was hauling. But Luke didn't believe that, if he didn't know. He had no objection to being boarded if he did. Listen, pal, I'm working under the contract of XTS, and my orders are to deliver my cargo to the agent on Bolthawi. Why don't you go bother somebody smuggling guns or spice or something? Captain, either you shut down your engines or we'll shut them down for you. Some of my gunners can pick flies off a wall with their laser cannons. Well, it was possible, although he hadn't seen any of them shooting quite that well during maneuvers. The freighter... Millennium Falcon. And what is it? The freighter? The pilot didn't know that. The freighter suddenly dropped its cargo module, sped up, and turned to starboard. It was going to make a run for it. Luke switched back to tactical option. Gotta do it the hard way, boys. Target the engines only if you aren't sure. Don't take the shot. We don't want to blow this baby up. Move in! The distance between the Blue Squadron and the freighter decreased in a hurry. This was stupid. The ship was unarmed and much slower than the Y-Wing. If they wanted to cook the captain, he was dinner, and he had to know it. The freighter tried to move at a right angle to the incoming freighters, but they were almost in range. Luke was in the lead. His ship was knocked out within his ship was faster than the Y-Wings, and it would take only a couple of blasts to knock out the engines, assuming they had standard shields. After 2 seconds, R2 whistled. Uh-oh, Luke didn't like what he heard. Put it on screen, R2. The image of the freighter appeared on Luke's screen. Where there had been 4 smooth sections of hull before, red lights now blinked. Another 2 spots flashed blue. Plates had slid back on the freighter to reveal hidden weapons. Heads up! Everybody, this thing has got teeth! He's got laser cannons, fore and aft, and would let the missile launchers ventral and dorsal. Watch yourselves! Luke put his X-Wing into a sweep turn as the freighter's port laser fired. The blast was close enough to scramble his comm. One of the Y-Wings blew forward, dived at the freighter, targeting its engine propeller. Luke saw the fighter beam stroke the target, but the bright blue splash as the beam hit revealed that the freighter had argumented shields. Not such an easy target after all. The freighter cannons found blue fore, and the ship flew apart. Man, there must be some what behind those guns. Break off, circle, and regroup. Luke called the news comm. Blue 2 was on the way in and it aborted its attack run. Too late, but 2 became shattered history. 4 of the Bothian ships slipped away in pretty good formation. Dash in the outrider in tandem with them. Luke was close enough to see the missile port on top of the freighter blow a cloud of gas into space, crystallize and glitter under the local sun's light. He's got a missile off! Luke yelled. I got it! I'll hammer that spark and scrap! Luke watched Dash ship roll and dive, and his robotic gun began spewing coherent bolts of energy. He couldn't see the missile, but he saw Dash continue his attack, saw the guns spraying their hard light spears. Blast! I gotta be hitting it. Why doesn't it stop? Dash, come on! Luke yelled. Shut up, I've got it. Stop, you blasted piece of junk. Stop. Move. Move, Dash. Now I'll get it. Incoming! Blue Six yelled, scatter! The four fighters tried to split up, separate like an opening fist too late. The missile exploded among them, and when the blast cleared all four ships, 8 Bothians were gone. I can't have missed, Dash said, his voice incredulous. I can't! Luke, anger swept over him and put the X-Wing in a sharp and twisting turn. Bye, Konama! Luke's anger swept over him as he put the X-Wing into a sharp and twisting turn. He headed right at the freighter. 6 of his squadron had been destroyed just like that, and Dash hot shot Dash. He'd screwed up royally. And if it hadn't cost lives, Luke would have felt that the braggart got what he deserved. If he had any doubts that the crew of the freighter, knew that they carried, that they were gone now. He was too incensed to use the force. He ignored the energy beam stabbing at him, ignored R2's kind of few whistles and balloons, ignored everything but the engine compartment of the freighter under his gun. Fired again and saw the radiation absorbed by the shield, saw the blue glow brighten, saw the force fields give way under his attack, saw the engine compartment rupture smoke, flashing red and purple as his laser beam baked and killed it. I couldn't have missed, Dash said. He sounded dazed. Stow that, Dash. It's too late to worry about it now. Get ready to bring your ship in. Luke switched channels to the freighter, said, your engines are dead, Captain, and that's what you and your crew will be if you fire another laser or missile. Do you copy? A brief pause. We copy. You are hereby considered prisoners of war. Stand by to be boarded. If you value your lives, best you don't mess with your real cargo. If anything happens to it, you will suffer the same fate. Luke shut off his comm. Oh man, he lost half his squadron. He should have known it. It was too easy to be true. A dozen Bothians had died to secure this vessel and its computer. He should have been ready for a trick. He should have known better than to trust the Empire. He should have realized that Dash was more talk than substance. He was a lousy commander every time he went out. He lost people, and there was nobody else to blame for this. Yeah, Dash had failed him, but it was his responsibility. He was the commander of the mission. He thought it would be so easy. A piece of cake, he told Dash. Yeah, he was too cocky, too self-confident, too certain the Force would show him the right path. Wrong. On some level, it made him angry. The Force didn't always come when he needed it, but the dark side would be there if you needed it, always. Oh no, you don't. Don't even think about going down that road. But it was tempting, all that power he had, felt it. He shook his head. He hoped whatever it was in the computer the freighter was carrying was worth what it had cost to collect it. It had better be. And this is chapter 18, and I'm bored. I don't want to stop reading. I feel like I'm going to go to sleep, but I don't feel like I'm going to sleep. I'll read you guys more tomorrow morning. But right now, I want to do something. But I don't know what I'm going to do. What up, yo? I'm bored. I already finished studying earlier. I had my dinner. Like, there's nothing else I want to do. Yeah. What do my peeps have to say for this? You're welcome. You're welcome, cute. Cute. Look at that. See that? What's that? What's that? Teddy bear, you're worrying me. And the wayward world just rebels without a cause with a place to go. Let's see what he's up to.
Dude, Snow Mixie is so fucking cute. Oh my god, she's so perfect. Arrow, oh my god. Dude, I want to fucking farm.
Rylan, focus. They're killing the arms wire.
I'm gonna fart in a jar.
I want to fucking hag me. It's me.
Aww. Damn. I'm gonna come after her. I'm gonna have her teach me the ways of trying to get herself, of trying to be so popular that even the guy that I have a major liking to likes her more than me. So sad. Oh, damn. I can't rush. It's hot anyways. We're doing two things at the same time, fucker.
This depressing sound. What is this? It's those things. You sure Asian? Those direct lines over this dream as well. Who sings about not letting the hardness of the... Picture,
There were so many times. Now listen up, here's the story. Why haven't you taken your depression meds? Babe, what the fuck? Babe, what the fuck? You don't just forget your damn medication. You could hurt yourself. God, I'm going to fucking lose my shit right now. You cannot just do that with your meds. He needs to take care of himself. I don't think he can do what. There you go. This is the love revolution. Oh. Excuse. Oh, he fucking part of it. Yay. I'm going to torture you until you drink your meds, bruh.
Stuck in a brow rut? There's a time to fly.
My brows were a disaster, and then I got precisely my brow, and everything changed.
Oh my god, that her? Wow, 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 wow. Precisely my brow pencil. By benefit.
Because I need to people leave. Fusion 7.0.
Looking at life through the eyes of a tiny
Needing see the pastime, activity, the toxicity, every city. Oh, whoa. Disorder, disorder, disorder. Whoa. Ow, fuck, no. No, no, please, no. I broke it. My long fucking hair broke this thing. Look. Long brown shoulders for the Akame. Let's go. Bruh.
You deserve the purple sea cushion. See why people are saying, like sitting on the lap. I'm Martha Stewart. Today we're making a spicy Mexican salsa
No.
filled with hot jalapenos.
Don't worry. Way to make it awkward. I'm going to punch him in the throat.
The purple sea cushion takes away so much pain. I feel I can do anything. Go ahead.
Haha. How old is she? Hey. No.
Dad is taking the girls. Mom is staying back. She's got to catch up.
Yeah, put your on your case, man.
Dad is taking the girls. Mom is staying back. She's got to catch up on some work.
Taco Bell's nacho fries are already gold. Now turn up the heat with the new Steak Reaper Ranch fries. Loaded.
Again. Gonna be fun trolling the roach. Gut.
how to make Thai chicken wings. Postmate Thai chicken wings. I made Thai chicken wings.
For $100 in free delivery credit.
Exactly.
100 now at checkout.
You can't.
So what you need to eat? Go down to the basement.
I wish for that drawing. You said Facebook. That's excuse me. I don't like anybody using me without giving me credit. Excuse me. Excuse me? Cyberbullying? You call this, okay, fine, excuse me, cyberbullying? cyberbullying. Cyberbullying? Is that what you think we are? Is that what you think? Cyberbullying. Cyberbullying. Oh. Cyberbullying. Would you shut the f... Why don't you shove that shit up back up your fucking ass? Why don't you shove Oh no. Stupid roach. I got you. There, fucking roach. Fucking kill. I'll just shove that shit back up your ass. Roach. Huh. Shut the fuck up. There you go. There you go. You're the one coming in here saying shit when no one asked for your opinion. for your damn opinion, and don't you dare say that that I am cyberbullying, because I am only defending friends from dumb people like you. Jesus Christ. Give it up, Robbie the fucking dumb cunt ass roach. Keep talking, Roach. Keep talking. Come at me, Roach. Come at me, Roach. Come on. Why don't you go fuck off, stupid cunt ass Roach.
Natural fries cheesy strikes all the right chords. Wow, really delicious. Since the Hollywood critics can't get enough of natural fries. Now experience natural fries live from your house with Taco Bell delivery.
Here, girl. Fucking hell, your kind of society. Your kind of society, get the fuck out, Roach. Local brains is a kind of society. Local brains is a kind of society.
make shrimp tacos. Let's make shrimp
Your
tacos.
lack.
You ate shrimp tacos.
With $5 off it, 5 orders, looking for 5 off it check.
Everybody ignore the roach. Everybody ignore the roach. Open your eyes. Everybody ignore the roach, the roach, the roach. Easy go, little high, little low. When close doesn't really matter to me, to me. Everybody ignore the roach. Ignore the roach. Select language. Robbie the duck, get the fuck out. Robbie the duck, get the fuck out. I see a little silhouette of a man. Let him move, can move, let him down, go.
Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening me. He's just a poor boy from a poor family, sparing his life from this monstrosity.
think I'm even doing? Robbie the Roach, get roach. He's yo. I need the pesticide. I need the pesticide. Yo, we got a roach here. I need the pesticide. We got a roach. Dude, I need pesticide. What did you kill? God damn. He's making me want to. Ooh. Wow. Robbie the Roach. You fucking bastard. For that rope.
When all clouds put more money in your pocket. Start by downloading QuickBooks Self-Employed from the App Store. Then, create an account. Do you use your car for work? Turn on automatic mileage tracking to log all of your trips using your phone's GPS. Then you can categorize your trips with a swipe, left for business, right for personal. Now that you're tracking your miles, go ahead and add your bank account for easy expense tracking. Just log in, and your bank will be connected. Stay on top of all of your expenses and categorize them through the year so you don't miss a thing. Just swipe left.
He's not. Oh no.
Computer being overpowered. So first, let's talk about the 3 settings you can change to fix your problem if it is a bandwidth problem with your internet. The very first thing I would do in this situation is change your output resolution to 720p. 1080p has a total number of pixels of about 2 million. And if you're running at 60 frames per second, that means your internet is sending 2 million pixels 60 times every single second. Whereas if you set it down to 720p, which 2 million. And if you're running at 60 frames per second, what we would do in this situation is change your output resolution to 720p. 1080p has a total number pixels of about 2 million. And if you're running at 60 frames per second, that means your internet is sending 2 million pixels 60 times every single second. Whereas if you crank that down to 720p, which frankly, half of your viewers are watching on their phone, they're not really going to be able to tell a staggering difference. You're dropping the total number of pixels from over 2 million down to less than 1 million. That's a massive difference in the amount of information that your computer has to send to the internet. However, this brings us to the second setting that you need to change. That is your video bitrate. You're going to find this in the output settings of OBS. Video bitrate is how much information your computer is sending every single second. And as you can imagine, 720p requires about half the amount of bitrate to maintain the same level of quality because you have half the pixels. I figured you probably figured that out, but in case you didn't, that's why. So while 1080p and 60 frames per second will probably look great around 5 megabits, you can drop it down to 720p, and I would maintain a little bit of extra headroom, maybe bring it down to 3,000 or 3,500 kilobits per second without any extra compression added or integrity lost in your footage. If you're still having internet issues at that point, maybe, I don't know, you're running Comcast, drop it down to 720p, 30 frames per second, lower your bit rate down to about 2,000 or 2,500. If you can't get an upload speed better than that, switch internet providers, move. I don't care what you have to do. That's bad. But refresher course, those are the 3 settings that I would change if you're having problems with your internet bandwidth. First, drop to 720p, drop the video bitrate down to about 3,500. If you're still having issues, drop the frames per second down to 30, and then drop the bitrate down to 2,500. With the way bitrate works, keeping the resolution off the video bitrate down to about 3,500. If you're still having issues, drop the frames per second down to 30, and then drop the bitrate down to 2,500. The way bitrate works, keeping the resolution high while lowering that bitrate, you're going to see a lot of weird pixelations going on when there's heavy movement on the screen. Lowering the resolution of the stream will actually maintain a higher integrity of footage. By the way, all these tips I've mentioned will also help you if the problem isn't your internet, but it's also your computer. The fewer pixels your computer has to push through to the internet, the easier it is on the components. But let's get into computer CPU overload and what might be causing your computer to not be able to handle this. There are 2 things that I would recommend you do first before lowering the quality of your stream. OBS is doing something pretty fantastic in real time. It's doing something that's really heavy on its load. It's called rendering. Essentially what it's doing is you're taking these multiple layers, whether it's your gameplay, then your camera, then your overlay, then your alerts, and then your stream labels, all the things that are layered on top of each other to make a stream, and it is taking all those elements and rewriting a brand new video with all those things combined. That process of creating all those layers and flattening them into one singular video is called rendering. If you've ever done any video editing, for example in Final Cut Pro, you've had to deal with this. If you've ever added a filter like color correction or maybe added a text layer on top, you know that Final Cut has to render. Otherwise, you lose quality of your footage. And that rendering, even on powerful computers, can take some time. For your computer to do this in real time is difficult. And the 2 best things you can do to lighten that load are remove any filters that you might have that are unnecessary, like maybe color correction, or consolidate multiple layers into a single layer. If you're using something like Muxy or Streamlabs, you've got an overlay layer, maybe even 2 if you've got an overlay and an underlay underneath your camera. You've got labels showing the most recent follower and donator, etc. You've got alert boxes using your browser source. All these causing extra layers that your computer has to render. Stream Elements has an amazing solution to this. You can go onto their website, you go to their overlay creator, you can upload your overlays, you can import alert boxes, you can do everything in this browser to create your entire stream, and then it gives you one link for a single browser source. I've created entire scenes in Stream Elements that were like 20 layers, and it consolidates them down to one layer, which really lightens the load on your PC. Those are the first two things I would do because you're not lowering the quality of your stream at all. So now you've eliminated 10 unnecessary sources. What is the last little bit you can do to save yourself some CPU power? Well, if you go to your output settings, you will see something called encoder preset.
You have a
Oh,
business.
come on.
And with YouTube, you can open your door to half the world's internet users, while only connecting with the viewers most.
It'll even say in there, higher equals less CPU, and it'll range from ultra fast down to slower. Essentially what this means is how much time the CPU spends on each frame. It's like, have you seen those images of a cartoonist spending a minute on a cartoon frame and then 10 seconds on a cartoon frame? You can see the quality of difference between them. The faster is going to look less, but it's easier on the computer because it doesn't have to spend as much time on all the details. So the faster you set your encoder preset, the easier it's going to be on your CPU, but you will see some of that weird pixelation going on your screen when you have a lot of movement at a time. I found that if you set it any slower than faster, there's not really much of a difference. I tried setting it on slowest. It clocked my CPU percentage up to 80%, and I saw no difference between that and faster. I mean, maybe like this much, but that's what we call diminishing returns. It's not worth it. I usually run it faster, and I brought it down to fastest, and it was a very minor change, but it dropped my CPU percentage almost in half. In fact, to test this whole thing before filming this, I dropped my resolution down to 720p, kept it at 60 frames per second, even kept the bitrate the same, and dropped the CPU preset down to very fast from faster, and my CPU usage went from about 32% down to 12%. That's almost down to a third of what the original processing power was. I actually left it at that. I'm sick of my CPU going up to almost 40% at crazy times. I wanted to stay down to 12. On top of everything else, if your computer is still struggling, there's one other thing you can do. The very last setting I'd recommend you toy with is the encoder. I know a lot of you guys getting your gaming PCs really emphasize the GPU, and you get a 1080, but you've only got an i5 in your computer. If you change your encoder to hardware, what it's actually doing is it's taking the load off your CPU. Instead of encoding your stream with your CPU, you're going to be encoding it with your GPU. This might not work for a single PC stream because that GPU is running on max for most of your games, especially if you're running.
Alright.